I quit both my nursing jobs within a year of launching my online business, and I have not gone back to nursing ever since. I don't know about you, but I felt stuck, right? I felt stuck. I felt uninspired. I felt burnt out. Burnt out is the word. And I felt like I wasn't living the life that I deserved. Okay. And I'll provide, the backstory on what led me to this place and how I was able to grow a business from zero, a business that I had no experience in. I had never done an online business before. And within just a year, making consistent five figures to the point where I could confidently quit not just one, but both nursing jobs. And I have not worked as a registered nurse since February of 2022, and I do not plan on going back. Now, by way of introduction, my name is Caroline. I am originally from Cameroon. I live in the US. I've lived in the US since 2009. I am a wife, a mother of four little girls, and I am a former registered nurse turned digital entrepreneur turned online business owner. I wanted to be a nurse pretty much right around the time when I moved to the US. Before then, to be honest, nursing had not crossed my mind. But when I moved to the US, like a lot of immigrants, it was one of the options that were presented to me. And it made sense. Like, I have always loved serving, I've always loved taking care of people. So it just made sense to me that, with nursing being a career where there is at least some level of job security, the pay is not bad, I naturally gravitated towards that line of work. So I went to nursing school. I did the direct entry Masters of Science in Nursing because I already had a bachelor's degree before moving here from Cameroon. And nursing school was hard. I'm going to be honest. Nursing school was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life. And thank God, I graduated 2015. My first job right out of nursing school was in the OR. I worked as a nurse circulator. It was an RN residency program. I know, like, of course, getting a job in the OR, typically you will need a lot of experience and all of that good stuff. But this was a nurse residency program in Cincinnati, and I was able to get in. And it was rough. It was a rough experience, but I learned a lot. It was what I would describe as an adventure for me, and I got a lot out of it. I was able to develop a backbone, which I would say is one of the things that you definitely need in nursing. I was able to develop a backbone that served me well in, my other roles throughout the course of my career. So after the OR, I worked in rehab. At some point I was a nurse supervisor. I also did RN case management, and within that period as well, I was already married and we started having babies, and it was back to back. Okay, at some point I was doing two nursing jobs while heavily pregnant, and we all know what happened in 2020. COVID hit, and we had relocated from Cincinnati to Arkansas. And the job that I got in Arkansas, I was going to be taking a $7 an hour pay cut. And needless to say, I was not happy about that. I was very upset. I was not happy about that. So that was the job I took. And then I got a second nursing job because at the time, my husband was in school full time. He was also working full time. And at the same point in time, I was also pregnant. So there was a lot happening in my life. And I feel like the love that I had for nursing, the passion that I had for nursing, all of those circumstances, all of those things happening all at once, it started choking that. Okay. To the point where, going to work felt almost like an extra chore, right? And leaving my babies at home or dropping them off at daycare would just break my heart. I remember so many times where I'll be driving to work literally in tears, not wanting to go, but needing to go, right? Because of course we needed the money. And at some point I was just really tired. And then of course 2020 with COVID and everything, being pregnant, working during that season, there was that extra layer of anxiety and worry and stress and everything. And eventually I got COVID. And I would do a whole different video on that experience. I got COVID. I ended up in the ICU. They had to do an emergency C-section to get my daughter out. She was in the NICU for 8 weeks. So by the time we got home from the hospital, here in the US, if you're watching me and you're not based in the US, maternity leave in the US is just 12 weeks. So by the time I got home, settled with my daughter, before I knew it, it was time to go back to work. And I was not just going back to work, I was starting a second nursing job. And when I tell you, that was the season where I was like, I have had enough. I do not want to, I don't feel ready to go back to work. I just want to be home with my baby. And with my other two daughters, they were in daycare pretty soon after maternity leave. So imagine putting a 12-week-old baby or slightly older in daycare. I did not want to do that with this particular baby, especially since she had been in the NICU and I knew she was, a little more fragile than the other one. So that was a season where, there was a lot of prayers. We are Christian, my husband and I are Christians, and we started seriously having the conversation about having a side hustle, building, something on the side while working our regular jobs or while building our careers. And we seriously thought about the option of an online business because we felt like with an online business, there's flexibility that comes with it, right? You can grow your online business concurrently, while pursuing your career. And so we came across my online business that I do now. And the original intention was just to be able to have something that will bring in some extra income to the point where I will not have to work as much. I won't have to hold down two nursing jobs. And I could even go to, a part-time role with my nursing career or even PRN. So I found out about this business. It had everything that we're looking for. It's legitimate, it's flexible, it's profitable. The business model to me made sense. That you were provided with the training, with the tools, with the resources, with mentorship, with coaching. I was like, what else am I looking for? So we went ahead and we got started, and I hit the ground running. Despite doing two nursing jobs, because it is so flexible, I was able to just really thrive, as an entrepreneur with no prior experience, right? And within a year of launching the business, thank God, I was able to quit not just one, but both nursing jobs. Because at that point, I was already making consistent five figures in my online business. So I was making more from my online business, which I was referring to as a side hustle, than I was making from both my nursing jobs, which was the main hustle. So it was an easy decision, to be honest. I could confidently quit both nursing jobs. So I've not worked as a registered nurse since February of 2022. I have been home, taking care of my babies, taking care of my family, and concurrently, just growing my digital business, growing my online business, and it's been a joy. So the purpose for this channel is to share and let my fellow immigrants especially know that you don't have to work all of the extra hours, right? I'm not saying quit your job. Like, your job is important. There are careers that are definitely essential, and nursing is one of them. You don't have to quit your job like me. You do not have to do that. But you also do not have to work to the point where you don't have any other life outside of your job, outside of your career, right? If you're like me, where you have a family, you have kids, you have, maybe family back home that is depending on you, then you see that there is that need for the extra income, right? So that's where a lot of times for us immigrants, you feel like you have to pick up all of the overtime, you have to work the double, triple, jobs. And at the end of the day, you're spent, you're tired, you're burnt out, but you feel like you don't have any other option and you have to keep going. So the purpose of this channel is to explore the different side hustle options, because again, you don't have to do my business, right? I always tell people it doesn't have to be my business. You can choose to do any other side hustle, but you need a side hustle. You need a plan B. You need to diversify your income streams. That was the lesson that I learned, and you don't have to go through what I went through to learn that lesson. Even if you just moved to whatever country you're in as an immigrant and you just started your first job, start thinking about diversifying your income streams. Start thinking about having a plan B. Start thinking about having a side hustle. Okay, so those are the things that we're going to be talking about on this channel. I'll share my journey, I'll share my tips, I'll share my strategies, how I was able to quit both my nursing jobs, how I was able to build a business with zero experience from the ground up to the point where I was making consistent 5 figures. And I do not want to make this video very long. This is just part one. Subscribe and let me know in the comment section, do you have a side hustle? What is your main hustle? Are you in healthcare as well? Are you an immigrant? Where are you based? Let's have a conversation in the comment section, and definitely look out for part 2, where I will share the beginning of my journey and how I was able to build a thriving digital business while holding down 2 nursing jobs.